Hey, what's going on, working class hustlers? Welcome to the Lightning Course part 1.1. So this is basically part 2 to the Lightning Course. Remember, there's already a Lightning Course part 1. There's a Lightning Course part 2. This is Lightning Course 1.1, so it's a continuation of the Lightning Course part 1. A lot of the information has not changed, but we just wanted to kind of stay abreast. There have been some updates, some changes. We want to make sure we didn't miss anything, just kind of a refresher. So that's the purpose of this course, but you will want to check out the Lightning Course part 1 down in the description. Actually, I recommend you watch it before this one, because between the two, you're going to get good information and you need that 1-2 punch. Also, before we get going, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss these videos that we continue to come out with. We're well over 250. Give this video a thumbs up if it brought value to you. Let the community know that it's a worthwhile watch, especially for anyone that would be interested in learning how to use the software Tactical Arbitrage. And also, there is the ability you have available to you, the ability to connect with me right with my cell phone. Text the words working class hustler to the number on your screen and you'll be able to connect with me. Ask those quick questions, won't charge you nothing. This is just something that I do. And the working class hustlers attest to that in the comments of each and every video. So that is something I encourage you to take advantage of. So without further ado, let's get into the Lightning Course 1.1. Okay guys, so when you come to tacticalarbitrage.com, this is basically where you would log in. If you see a green members access, then that's going to actually, you can just click right on that, and then that way you don't have to worry about filling out because you're already logged in. Once you get in, here's your dashboard. There's really nothing we need to get into. You will be able to change back to the older experience if you want. We're not going to do that because we actually want to keep you, this whole video is to keep you abreast of the way things are now, changes. So you will notice that this is a new feature. You can go from the light to the dark theme. Okay, I'm going to go with light. This kind of just gives you a layout. We're not going to spend a lot of time with that, but it kind of lets you know what you've got going. So what we're going to talk about first is your product search. So all you need to do is pay attention. You see what happened? This is important. You're going to pay attention to what popped up because this looks very forbidding and it's not. What this is saying is, hey, look, you've already got some bulk categories already set. If you look right here, there's 417 out of 500 that we already have set. The system is saying, hey, what are you doing here? With this new search that you're about to set up, are we adding that to some existing stores and categories? That would be a multi-store search, which you may want sometimes, okay? But in most cases, you're going to delete. And when you delete, watch what happens. The 417 store and categories that are already out there, that goes away. You can have a maximum of 500. But if you want a multi-store, you would leave it the way it was. And then whatever you're doing here is adding to an existing setup, okay? Keep that in mind because if you're new to the software, you're going to be wondering, why does that keep popping up? Because it's going to keep popping up, okay? You want the advanced, okay? Don't go basic, not enough control, okay? So leave that on advanced. Cash, leave that, say, 5 days, 3 days, one of the two. As you get more advanced, you'll play around with that. You don't want this checked, which is cash only. You don't want this checked, UPS sites and products only. You're going to lose some stores if you go with this, okay? Also check UPC products for image matches. No, you may not have an image match, but that still could be a good product. You're going to be sourcing from the USA, selling on the US in most cases. If not, you can go ahead and change these. You're going to pick the website that you're going for. In our case, we're going to pick Target, which means we can either scroll down to Target or we can start to type and let it autofill, and there we have our store. Now, you have a choice. You're at the store. What category are you going to put in? You can either put the category here, and you need to know the format. So you'll come over here and you'll tab over to a category example. This is a format for Target, and this explains to you what you need to do if you're going to put your own category in there. Okay, and then there are some notes that you can take if you'd like. What we're going to show you how to do is what's called an easy bulk. This start page and last page, you don't need those anymore. You don't need import bulk category list right now. That'll be something later. We're going to go easy bulk. Easy bulk says you can have up to 500, and they already have these pre-selected. So you can say, I like baby. Well, that's already 185 out of 500. You can say electronics. Now you're up to 319 out of 500. Anything that's grayed out, that means it's too big, because now you would exceed the 500. So what you could do, you could open this up and you could deselect some subcategories under a category. You could toggle with that arrow and you could deselect some things. What if you said, okay, electronics, I'm more interested in toys. So deselect that, come down to toys, and now you're up to 354. Okay? But what if you don't do dress up and pretend to play? Deselect that and watch what happens here. Okay? As you start to deselect, we're done with Easter. Okay? Those will actually change. It didn't change right there, but that's where you figure that out. Okay? Now you're at 406. And you know, maybe we just selected video games. Maybe you don't do Madden. You can deselect that so that you don't. And then watch what happens. Once you add these 406 to the categories, you're going to see this number change. It'll be 406 over 500. Okay? Now you're all set with that. If you would like to save all the filters you have up to here, you can save those filters. Now, actually, what this is saying, use saved filters. So like down here, if you saved the filter setup, here you can go ahead and select something that you had already saved, and it saves you having to do all this stuff. Now, I would suggest that you name your search, whatever you want. You could call it Target, you could put the date, you could put the different categories, but it's going to be important because later on, as you have a sea of searches going, you need to be able to identify what search is what. And you're not going to know, that's not so much of a big deal at first. So while you're doing your free trial or as you're just getting going, but as you start getting searches going over and over, you want a way to identify that. Okay. Now, once that's all set up, now you come over to your price adjustments. This is saying, hey, I'm not going to pay the same price that they're seeing at the store because the store is having a discount, say a sale going on. I'm using cash back. I'm using a discounted gift card. That's where you'll put that at. If you have sales tax, you can put that in there. There's some other things you can play around with you'll get into later. Okay, but we don't need that right now. Now we get into the remove section. A lot of this you don't need. I wouldn't worry about any of these. I would not click this one on, this one on. Okay, it's going to be up to you, but I don't care if Amazon is selling. That doesn't bother me. If that does bother you, click that and put it on. If there's no weight and size data, I don't care because I can figure that out. Okay, remove out of stock products. I leave that on. Remove oversized. There's money in oversized, guys, so I don't check that. Remove third-party sellers. I will, but it doesn't work with every site. Now, if there's a question about anything, click on the little question mark and it will actually give you more information. Remove if the number of competitive FBA sellers is more than. I don't deal with that. Same thing here, less than, more than. What I will say is I like to have my average rank at 90 because 3 months gives you a good picture. I don't go higher than 500,000. A lot of people think 500,000 is a lot, but you have to understand rank is dynamic. It's moving around. If you set up your search too tight, maybe you don't want to go ranks over 1,000. You are not going to get a lot of results, and then you're going to be frustrated. It happens all the time. I get text messages, hey, I'm not getting any results. You need to widen the search. You're too narrow. You can always sift through, okay? So I put mine at a 500,000. I don't do anything with this. These are titles, you could remove things, whatever. Cost and fees, I usually say, I don't use a prep center. So this would be, if you're using a prep center, cost per pound to ship to Amazon is approximately 50 cents for me. Now, here's where you say what you want your profit and return on investment to be. I like to keep the profit around $10. Sometimes I'll make that around $7. I like to keep the data if the return on investment is at least 30%. Sometimes I make that 20 because I am happy with 20. Other filters, nothing. I do want to show Amazon out of stock results. Also show reverse search from other sources. So in case the software sees the same product and it matches your criteria, it meets the criteria where you've determined what you want to see, it'll show that store because there's so many stores that this software is searching. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Now you can name this setup. That way you can come back and do this setup later. There are other ways you can do that. You don't necessarily have to get going. Now, once you go search, you'll click search. And now what you're doing is you're waiting for things to get going. Now you can see you're on pages. Now you can see things are happening. 1 out of 144, and it's checking products. That's how you know. Now, when you get ready to do a new search, you don't just come over here and start doing stuff. It's not going to work. You have to actually click start a new search. And then you can pick your website. You can see, here you can see, you need to clear this out because this still has everything from your last search. So anything you add, this will be a new search that includes whatever we had selected and then what we add from the new site. And if you're not clear on that, you could actually click the manager and you can kind of see what you got going there. Okay. But what you would want to do is clear. And now you're starting with 0 over 500 with your new store. Okay. So now we're going to look at reverse search. Now, reverse search is where you tell the site, hey, I want you to look at Amazon's best sellers in a particular category. Same thing, guys. Either go 3-day cash or 5-day cash. Same thing. Nothing else is really going to change except with a reverse search, you can actually do what's called a keyword search. Say if you just wanted to search Nike or Adidas or whatever, you could actually go there. If you don't, then what you have to do, you see how that changed? All those got grayed out. If you click here, basically what you're telling, and you can go best sellers, most wished, movers and shakers. I usually go with best sellers. Now you got to pick the category. Let's say you wanted, we'll just say toys and games. Now you can stay as high up as you want, or you can get down into your subcategories and your subcategories. And if you want to know what it's going to do, click there. Okay. For the first level, you can scan up to 100,000 ASINs. And if you're starting from a subcategory, you can scan up to 3,000 ASINs in any one of these drill down selections. So you see how all of that works. As far as your filters, those are all basically the same. Nothing's going to change down there. And you go ahead and hit search and it gets going. But remember, the difference between a product search and a reverse search. Product search, you tell the software, go to this store, Best Buy, Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, whatever it may be. Reverse search, you tell the software, go to Amazon, look under a particular category, find me the best sellers, and that way I know I'm looking at the most popular products. And now go through all of your stores and see if you can find me profit based on my criteria. So that is very, very powerful. And then finally, guys, we're going to go to the feature called Always Be Scanning. Okay, that's right here. Now, here's what you want to think about. All of that work we just did, you don't have to do it necessarily. Because when you have the Always Be Scanning feature running, the software is always running scans across different categories for you. Now, we have filters set up so that I'm viewing certain things. And what this notice is telling me is, hey, you've got 690 products that you can't see because of the filters you have set up. So what we'll do is reset the filters. You don't have to do that. And now you can see we've got 15 pages worth of products. Now, when you're using Always Be Scanning, you need to pick your country. So in my case, I'm going to pick United States. That's what I want to look at. Now, what I'm about to show you now applies to all of your search results. You did a product search, you did a reverse search. When you come to the results for those searches, it all looks the same. And the first thing you need to understand is I have my columns displayed the way I want. You can move things around. If you click and drag, you can move things around. Okay? Maybe you like your image over here. I like my images right next to each other. That way I can compare them. When I look here, I can see right away if there's a match or a mismatch. Okay? This is going to apply to any search results that you're viewing. You can actually, you got a couple of ways. You can either come to your filter manager and you can filter down whatever you want the estimated monthly sales to be, the profit, the price. You can do that and apply it. But what I like to do is right on the page, you can filter. For example, look at the stores. Let's say you were in the filter manager and the source, well, that's the stores. There's 64 items and you could deselect or select the stores that you want to look at. But I don't do that in the filter manager. I do it right on the page. All you have to do is where you have a magnifying glass, there's your 64 items. And here you can select what you want. So for example, let's say I just wanted to look at things, we'll say Target. So we'll deselect all, select Target. Now you see right now you've got 14 pages. But when you apply this, now you're down to one page. And you're just looking. And what are you looking for? Well, you're looking to see if you can make a profit. What criteria? You're looking at your criteria, okay? Estimated monthly sales. Maybe you want at least 10. So what you could do is click there and you can put whatever your criteria. At least 10, that's going to change. This product right here is going to leave after you do that because it doesn't meet the criteria anymore, okay? You could say, how much do you want to pay? You could say there's just so much thing. What do you want your gross profit to be? Your gross return on investment. There's all kinds of ways to figure it out. If you're new, you're going to be restricted on a lot of things. So you have to go in. Now this is something you're going to have to go in and set up. You're going to have to set up your check restrictions. That way you can click and see if you're approved to sell a particular brand. If you're approved, it's going to say good news. Your account has no restrictions. It'll look like that. And so real quick, if you want those restrictions to work, you have to install an extension. It's called the Tactical Arbitrage Restrictions Detective. You have to have that going, and then everything will work as far as clicking on that button. So if you went to Google and you typed in Tactical Arbitrage Restrictions Detective, you'll see under BrowserMize.com, you'll click, and then there you'll see where you can actually get the app. Okay? And then once you have that, then things will work properly as far as you being able to click on this restrictions and have it work. That's got to be running in the background. Now, I can tell you, before you can even do anything, you have to be able to sell the product. So you've got to go line by line to figure out whether or not you can sell a product. But we're actually working on an extension that will do a lot of that for you. If you see right here, we're going to click this on, and then we're going to come back over, and now you can see that extension. And what you'll notice is some of your ASINs are now bolded, and bold would mean that you can sell the product without even having to, before you even click on restrictions, you know not to even waste your time if it's not bold. So for example, I wouldn't even click on this. This one is bold, so I know I can sell it, and boom, when I click on it, great news. But if I click on this, you need approval. And see, I can just scroll through and not waste time clicking on things that are not bold. That's called the TA Forecaster. That's some software that we're working on. And it's not finished yet. We're still working the bugs out. But if you're interested in that, you can get on the waiting list. We'll put the link to that down in the description so that you can get on that. Huge time saver. Guys, if you need any more information, we'll be coming out with another mini series on this. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And also, like I said, connect with me. That way, if you have any questions, issues, just text me. No problem, guys. We'll get you taken care of. And again, if you haven't, use the link in the description. Sign up for your free trial. Now that you kind of know what you're doing, you have a game plan. You're not, completely lost with the software. Okay, guys, so enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.